Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Stargirl Season 2, and this is going to be my review for Episode 13, the finale for Season 2. Can't believe it's just quickly got here, otherwise entitled Summer School Chapter 13. And oh boy, of course, spoil it. Spoil it if you've not watched the episode yet, you've not watched this season, you haven't seen the finale, go away, because I'm going to be talking about everything, including the things that set up next season, the big cliffhanger at the end, everything like that. Can't wait to talk about it. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your various opinions, thoughts, theories, everything like that, based off what happens in this episode and what leads into season 3, and just what you thought of this season as a whole. I'm always curious to where you guys are saying. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, you enjoyed this episode, you enjoyed this finale, you enjoyed the season, why not just drop a like on the video to show all of that. So last episode was really like a part 1 for this finale. It set up everything. The JSA, or the new JSA, got all their ducks in a row in regards to preparation for the potential takedown or attempted takedown of Eclipso. But Eclipso is a couple of steps ahead of them, as a true villain or a good villain would be, with his true plan revealed, with him aiming to take over Courtney to achieve his real mission, which is then later revealed in this episode. But of course, the cliffhanger is us actually seeing this, Eclipso possessed, Eclipso controlled Courtney, whichever way you want to put it, and definitely got you excited for what was coming up in this finale. But in regards to this finale, it really gets into everything. Like, it is really sort of similar to last season, but even a bit more extended in regards to just sort of like the debrief, if you want to call it, for this episode. Or, like, it gives you like a good 10 minutes roughly of just, okay, we've dealt with the villain. Okay, let's just have a breathe, and gave you those character moments that sort of finish off some stuff from this season, while also setting up stuff for next season as well. I'm very curious to see where it all goes based off some of the interactions towards the end, which we will discuss in the breakdown, if you want to call it, section of this review. And I know that some people might be a bit jarring that it sort of like half of it's like, it feels like it might be rushed or something, but I don't think it was rushed. I think it was just sort of, that's just how it played out. Like, I think that was the correct way for it to play out. It didn't feel rushed to me, but I could see some people saying, oh, well, it was only, everything stopped halfway through the episode or something, so it was rushed. But I don't see it that way. I think that was the correct amount of time needed for what happened in regards to that portion of the episode. But yeah, let's just jump into the nitty gritty and finer details of everything that happened in this episode. So we do pick up in Blue Valley's town center straight away in this episode, where an eclipse has come over the town. So that's how you know Eclipso is in he's in his peak attack mood, if you want to call it, with Eclipso continuing his conversation from the end of last episode with Beth and Dr. McNider. And the child actor Milo Stein was great in that scene. This was like really his like sort of last moments in the season, and he's been great throughout this entire season, especially as a child actor. I'm not too sure how old he is. He's definitely under the age. He's meant to be playing like a 10-year-old, but I think he might be a bit younger than that. I think he might be like 9 or something like that. But he's been a fantastic actor this season, especially considering how young he is, and he's been nailing it. Like, the fact that we are creeped out so much by it just shows how good he's going. So yeah, hopefully he has a good future ahead. But Eclipso does reveal that both of Beth's parents are stuck in this like these dark visions, I guess, building up the power from the darkness for Eclipso. They're just stuck in the thing as well, which obviously doesn't help Beth either. So that all leads into, some of the dark stuff that happens in this episode, or at least helping out Eclipso get what he wants to do, or get what he, is aiming to do. But in the meantime, Jenny does wake up from her nightmares, those dark visions she's having, which of course included the vision with Eclipso Courtney, with her warning Barbara to not let Courtney go to Eclipso, but unfortunately it's too late. Like, the stuff's already happened. However, someone does arrive at the door when all this is happening. Now, at the time, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I was like, I might be surprised at the same time. I was like, I think I know who it's going to be. We do find out later in the episode, but Courtney, Yolanda, Pat, and Cindy have already gone to the town center, so that's why it's a bit too late for Jenny and Barbara and all of that. And this is when a rift in the sky opens up, looking to be connecting to the Shadowlands. Now, there's multiple rifts that end up opening up. This is like the first one we see. It looked pretty cool. Now, Rick is still working on that hourglass, which isn't going well, and nothing happens with that in episode. He can't really figure it out. So I'm very curious to see what happens with that next season, because he's getting overly frustrated. But now they have some time. Like, there's no, demigod Eclipso dude there threatening to take over and destroy the world, or at least take over the world. So there's no pressure there. So they can at least, take some time with the hourglass. And it wouldn't surprise me too much that when we pick up in season 3 that it's fixed, or there's like an alternate version of it, something along those lines. But I guess that's for us to wait and find out. But yeah, Courtney, Yolanda, Pat, and Cindy do arrive at the American Dream where we get our first action scene of the episode, and it was a good one. I really enjoyed this one. We had just, characters fighting characters, which either they were the same person or alternate versions. So we had Wildcat versus OG Wildcat, Ted Grant, Pat versus like a younger Pat, Cindy versus young Cindy. All that stuff was going on. I was like, oh my god, my mind is like melting. It's just too much going on. And Eclipso does reveal to Corny that he is going to merge the Shadowlands with the real world, and that's that's going to complete his goal of becoming a god. Now, all of our heroes are getting their asses beaten. Like, they're getting absolutely owned. They're falling into Eclipso's trap for sort of like raising the darkness. However, they're lucky that Dr. McNider and Beth are there and they're able to snap them out of it. But this does lead into a Cindy and Stargirl versus Eclipso fight, which I thought was really cool. And I actually sort of wanted to go longer because they get knocked out of the window. And I was like, oh, let's continue it outside. But it doesn't continue there. Sort of Eclipso goes and does his own thing because he's able to. But yeah, I thought seeing Cindy and Stargirl team up against a villain was really, really cool to see. Now, we do get the long-awaited return of the Thunderbolt. Though we've had Jakeem in a couple of episodes, the Thunderbolt hasn't been there. He's been away, and he does return from his trip away with that long-awaited Chinese food for Jakeem. Now, obviously, we think it's been ages, but as we've said in the past couple of episodes, the timeline for this season is extremely short. It's only been like a couple of weeks. So Thunderbolt was only away for a bit. He wasn't gone for like 3 weeks. He was only gone for, I guess, like half a day or a day or something like that. He hasn't been gone for that long. But the Thunderbolt is back just in time for what's going on in the town against Eclipso, with them actually wishing for an engine part to fix Stripe, which, Pat knew wouldn't be able to be done. It was sort of there to keep Mike and Jakeem and everything, just to keep them away from everything. But they're able to wish for it. And we get Mike flying Stripe into the town center, knocking Eclipso on his ass. And I didn't think I would ever see Stripe do a dab. Or shake his ass, either. One or both. If that was on Stargirl Season 2 bingo, I would have said, you're an idiot, that's never going to happen, and I would have admitted defeat if that was ever on my card, but he did both. So who won bingo this year? I don't know, but his upgrades are badass with the chainsaw and everything like that. Like when Zeke was upgrading it, I was like, oh, okay, that seems a bit silly, but when you see them in action, it's just like, okay, that's pretty awesome. But unfortunately, a wish from Jakeem to electrocute Eclipso does backfire and take Stripe out of commission for a bit, and does sort of mess with Mike as well. I thought Mike was going to be like sort of fried for a bit or something like that, but he's just sort of knocked out for a bit. But luckily, another big boy arrives in the form of Grundy thanks to Rick, though he doesn't last too long, with Eclipso turning his stomach into a tunnel. So Grundy does die at that point, but Grundy is like a zombie, so he can come back to life, which they sort of allude to at the end of the season, and we'll talk about that when we get to that scene. That was sort of like one of the cliffhangers, if you want to call it, for stuff going on or stuff that's going to lead into next season. But yeah, Grundy's taken out of the fight in regards to that moment at the very least. Now, Eclipso does have Pat like on the edge of like an execution pretty much, with him being able to get Corny to fall into like the dark side of herself and just into the darkness overall, which opens herself up for a takeover. So this is when we welcome Eclipso Corny into this episode, just like we saw at the end of last episode, but this time it's in color. Obviously, last episode at the end it was in like black and white. And Courtney in this instance is complete with, or Eclipso Courtney might I say, is complete with a new purple cosmic staff and the power to pretty much finish his mission of merging the worlds. So, well, let's see how that goes. Now, we've got like a lot of characters coming back, and we had the Shade returning via helping out Beth's parents as well, with them in turn finding out that Beth is Dr. Midnight. So we'll talk about the other scene with that in a bit. But obviously that's a big reveal for them. But I did love the Shade's re-entrance and that bit of banter with Dr. McKnight, just saying, hey, he loves the a bit of the dramatics and everything like that, the theatrical stuff. So I thought that was really funny. Like the Shade's probably been my favorite character this season. So just because of those little scenes, like that bit of banter, like the actor does an amazing job with it. So, yeah, I was happy to get more of that in the finale. Now, because of Eclipso, controlling Corny, Cindy wants to kill Corny due to having to kill the host to rid Eclipso. But of course, Yolanda is against that. There has to be another way. And that other way comes in the form of the mystery person at the door that Jenny and Barbara answer to. And that is, of course, as I was thinking, and I'm sure most of you would have thought when that happened, they didn't show who it was. It's Sylvester Pemberton, aka Starman. Of course, in episode 1, we saw that he was looking for Pat, and it feels like it's been a long time ago. Like that episode aired 3 months ago, 3.5 months ago. But in the timeline for the show, it's only been like 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks or something like that. So that's a reasonable amount of time that it would take for him to connect the dots and eventually find Pat in a sort of not a rushed way, but in like a general way. So that fits in. So it just feels like it's been a long time, but it really hasn't in regards to this timeline. But he is able to help Courtney, and Courtney is able to see into the love and into the light side of her life. And Eclipso is extracted from Courtney's body. But we also have Sportsmaster, Tigress, and Artemis return. That's, of course, who Cindy rang at the end of last episode. I assume that it was Artemis because, like, I don't know who it would have been. But we learned that Artemis actually ended up breaking Sportsmaster and Tigress out of prison as well, which a lot of people were saying in the comments section for my review as well. So everyone was right there in regards to saying that. And with the power of all the light, of all like the Green Lantern, like the Thunderbolt, the Cosmic Staff, everything like that, Eclipso is defeated. But Jakeem does wish for him to be toast. So he's not killed. He's literally he's turned into a literal piece of burnt toast. I don't know where we're gonna. Would he get moldy? Would he get? I don't know. Like, what are they gonna do with that piece of burnt toast? I don't know where they're gonna put it. They're gonna put it somewhere safe. But that's the end of Eclipso, and that whole scene was just so action packed. That was like bam, 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 to the point where you get to this. You look at how long left to go in the episode. I think it was like 15 minutes left in the episode. I'm like, oh my god, what are we going to do here? But it does a lot. It does a lot for sort of wrapping up storylines in this season while also setting up stuff for next season as well. So we get the new JSA sort of debriefing with Yolanda saying that she is back on the team, but the group have their own like personal things to get to and to go and do. And Courtney wants to know about Sylvester, like how is he alive? But Pat doesn't know, and Sylvester said that he will explain it later, which isn't explained in this episode. So obviously that's season 3. We know that Joel McHale, who plays Sylvester, is a season regular next season, so he's going to be there a lot. And that's like, I guess what he's going to be doing next season is set up with Courtney being concerned that he is back for the staff, though Pat reminds her that like now is not really the time or place to be jumping back into more worries. And I did like how Pat's arm cast was signed by everyone, like had all the characters' names in it. I thought that was pretty funny. But Sylvester comforts Courtney by letting her know that he isn't there to take back the staff. He's not there to take back the staff. The staff has chosen her, but he does want to teach her more about it. So we're going to see some tutelage next season between Sylvester and Courtney, which I'm very much looking forward to seeing. And also with the setup for the villain next season, or what we should assume is the main villain, I'm very curious to see whether there's a history there that the JSA formerly would have known of, or if this is a completely new villain that is going to sort of like take the JSA, the new JSA and the former JSA members as well by surprise. But Beth does find Dr. McNider's wife, who unknowingly to Dr. McNider was actually pregnant when he disappeared. So he has a 10-year-old son. So there's a happy ending there for Dr. McNider. I don't know if we're going to see him again next season. I think we will. It just won't be in a main role. So he might come back for a handful of episodes here and there, depending on what's going on. But yeah, I thought that was a really happy ending for Dr. McNider because, you know, he was coming back into this world that he hasn't been there for a while. He has no idea what's going on. So I thought that was a really nice ending for that character. Now, Mike and Jakeem have big plans as a new team outside the JSA. And let's see how that goes, because Jakeem has still a lot to learn with the pen. Like, even in this episode, he wasn't being, you know, he was just saying electrocute, you know, Eclipso, wasn't being specific, make this guy toast or toast this dude or something like that. So there has to be specifics there. I'm sure Jakeem is going to learn those ropes as we move along. But are they going to be part of the new JSA? Because like they're talking about this new team. I think they are. But I'm very curious to see just what happens with Stripe as well and Mike and all of that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if next season picks up right where this season ends, or if there's a bit of a time gap in between, because obviously between season 1 and 2 there was a 6-month gap, I think it was. So they're going to pick up straight away, or is there a gap again? We'll have to wait and see. Now there is a really quick Cameron Marquand setup where he learns about his family's past, the Icicle past. His grandparents come in, they reveal their powers and stuff. It's very quick and random. It's probably the only part of the episode where I was like, maybe that could have been done better or slotted in better. But I don't know how that scene could have been inserted better in the episode. I was trying to think. I can only really think maybe it's at the end of the episode, like it's later in the episode, a couple of scenes later. That's the only thing I could think of. But yeah, that was my only sort of like major criticism, and it's not even major, it's minor. Just really the placement of that scene just felt a bit weird and odd. Maybe it should have been later, or maybe it should have been in a previous episode, something like that. But yeah, so they've set that up. So let's see where that progresses next season. Are we going to get villainous Cameron? Are we going to get like an anti-hero Cameron or hero Cameron as Icicle Jr.? That's for us to wait and find out. Now, this sort of surprised me. I have Cindy going to meet Yolanda outside church, and just to sort of keep it short and sweet, she sort of wants to join the JSA, and there's sort of like criticisms from Yolanda Cindy's way, but well, Cindy brings those up, but sort of Yolanda's done the same thing. She's like, Yolanda's killed and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I feel. Do I want Cindy to join the JSA? I don't think I do. I don't know if that's the best character progression, but maybe that's a thing. Maybe it's like rejection there drives Cindy to do something else. But I'm curious how to see how they use Cindy this season, because they used her really, really well this season, considering what happened last season. You think that would be it? So I'm very curious to see what season 3 Cindy is like. Because I really know what the storyline will be there. So I'm very curious. Now, Rick does bury Grundy in a grave, and he's mourning him and everything like that, but the Shade lets him know. The Shade, of course, just shows up. That's what he does. But he lets him know that Grundy isn't gone forever. He has a tendency to come back to life as long as you bury Grundy in the right place, with the Shade also letting Rick know that he isn't leaving Blue Valley anytime soon. Now, we knew or got a hint that the Shade was going to be in next season because the actor, I think, was seen on like a interview thing or something like that with season 3 cast members. So it was assumed that he was going to be in season 3, but it wasn't confirmed. So it's cool to see that he'll still be in Blue Valley. And with what's happening with the setup for the villain, he might have to play a good role in it. But let's see what happens there. But yeah, at least they confirmed that Grundy will still have a role, I guess, or at least that Grundy will still be alive somewhere. I guess it just depends whether he plays into the season, because this season I think he played into it fairly well when he showed up. But I just don't know how they would use him in season 3. That's for us to wait and find out. Now, one of the more surprising things, I think, for us, the audience, but also to Beth's surprise as well, is that her parents aren't concerned at her being a superhero and all that superhero stuff at all. They are like actually stoked and excited by it, and it has actually like revitalized their marriage. Like, they want to be the best parents a superhero has ever had. With them also teasing a suit upgrade like Beth has in the comics. They said like nanotech and like yellow and black. I can't remember the term. Like, it's that suit that Beth has in the comics where it's like a one-piece suit sort of thing. They're sort of teasing that. I don't know if they're going to go down that route. They might, or maybe that's just like a bit of an Easter egg. I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. They might go down that upgrade. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not too sure. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I've said that like 5 times in a row already, just because I have no idea. Now, Barbara does reveal that the house next door to them has sold. And I was like, okay. I first thought that it was Starman, but I was like, would Starman buy a whole house? He could just he could just stay in the basement or something of Pat's house, or sleep on the couch or something like that, or a motel. It's like, do you have to buy an entire house? Because they're big houses on that street where Courtney lives. But it's actually not Pat. It's not actually Sylvester. Sorry, the new neighbors are the Crocs, Sportsmaster, Artemis, Tigress. They're the new neighbors, and that's when we get the new season being called Frenemies. Frenemies. Stargirl season 3 is going to be called Frenemies. And when you think about it, there's that like the Shade, Cindy as well, Grundy to an extent. Are we going to see like a mixture of the villains / former villains now being mixed in with the heroes? Frenemies. There's going to be conflict, and is that what they're going for? I think that based off the title, that's what I'm assuming, especially because of various things that were set up as well. So let's see how that goes. Let's say coming 2022. I'm assuming that season 3 will premiere in May, just because they like sort of like the COVID holding with filming and delays and stuff has sort of like stopped. So I'd assume end of May, maybe early June next year is when season 3 will come out. So it's not that long of a wait. So it's it's only like, what, a 6-month wait roughly. So not too long. But the big cliffhanger for the season, the setup for the villainous side for next season, is that we do go back to the Helix Institute, which is what I was predicting. I thought this would be the cliffhanger for the season. And that's when we have the nurse, whatever her name was, speaking to Mr. Bones. And we get to see him. I was wondering, I was like, are they going to show him? Because we saw the back and I was like, she's 100% talking to Mr. Bones. I'm like, are they going to show his face? Are they going to show his skull head? And they do. He's very creepy looking. It almost looks like he's got the skull, but his head, like maybe he's got like it's like gelatinous, like see-through skin. Because I guess it can go both ways. But he looks cool. But she lets Mr. Bones, okay, I kept thinking Dr. Bones, but Mr. Bones know about what has gone down with Green Lantern's daughter, aka Jenny, in Blue Valley, and their interest is piqued, and he's going to pay a visit, or at least keep a good lookout and then pay a visit. So I can't wait to see what happens there. I'm assuming that means we might get Todd Rice Obsidian, because we're led to believe he was still at the Helix Institute. Are we going to get the actual Helix group and the people there? Because they're like sort of like mutants. That's the best way to put them. Mutants in the DC universe. So I can't wait to see what happens there, which new characters we meet. I think it's going to be crazy, and I'm very, very excited about all of it. But yeah, overall, this finale I think wrapped up this season great. I think it was better than the season 1 finale, and I love the season 1 finale for Stargirl. I think it's got a lot of heart, but this had heart, action, and it just felt like a comic book. You know, like I think one of the things that people have been critical about this season is that Stargirl hasn't been in a suit, or the heroes themselves hasn't been in their suits too much. But I think Stargirl itself just doesn't necessarily go, oh, we're a superhero show. It's a comic book show. I think that's why it taps into it well, and it's enjoyable even if they're outside of their suits. And I think this finale nailed that. Like, it was really, really enjoyable when we're seeing them fight in their suits, but it's also really fun and enjoyable and exciting when they're not. They're just being corny. They're just being Beth. They're just being Yolanda. They're just being Rick. They're just being Pat. Everything like that. So I think this finale nailed it. And, you know, it's not like the gap between season 2 and 3 is going to be much shorter than the gap between season 1 and 2, but it still feels like it's going to be ages away. And I just want season 3 now, and I can't wait for it to hit our screens around the middle of next year. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions, thoughts, theories, everything like that based off this episode and what it sets up for next season. Are you excited for Mr. Bones? What do you think about his look? Do you think it's cool? Let me know all that in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I might do a video tomorrow or the next day focusing more on the setup for next season and any sort of comic book connections, and if there's like a post-season interview with maybe like Jeff Johns or one of the actors and stuff, which there might be. If that's the case, I'll probably do a video, so keep your eyes on that. But I'll probably try and do at least one video based off the wrap up from this season, so keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.